That's
Yeah,
something to start with, right?
it was a really good. I don't want to say good. It's really hard to tell how much of their success was strictly off of, excuse me, off of making it into Melted Power before other teams or not. I think sacrificing Waldo for that was quite worth it. So similar to Oath, uh, I want to see if they can continue to play at this level when they don't get the circle in their favor. Because for Rumblers as well as Zenith, though Zenith did a lot more than Rumblers throughout that mid game. Rumblers sort of just had the sanctuary of power to hang out behind before it finally hit the top 3. So even for them as well as Oath, it was definitely a bit of a gimme.
Man, I got to tell you, I loved the way that Zenith played that game, just the whole way through. Just being so proactive and third party on those fights the way that they did. It was just, I mean, that's what you want to see a team do, especially if you're setting up to go into kind of a short format tournament for a grand finals thing. Just having that confidence to go out there and push onto things and try to get your points as any way you can. And Zenith, I feel like, is feeling it right now, man. They look like they are 100% comfortable in that new roster.
Yeah, it's really, really good. There were some chemistry issues that we've heard about from the previous Zenith roster. Nothing to take away from their old teammates, but it really does feel that Relo has been able to find a crew that's fully fit onto the style of play that he wants to play. Sorry, yeah, Roth.
Gotcha.
4 letters, starts with the R. It was on my screen.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Roth is finding those 4 players. And also, more than that, Kickstart is really coming into his own as the star player. This is a guy who's sort of been grinding out in PUBG in North America for so many different years, and he's had the talent for the longest time, but this is the highest that we've ever seen him really take a team.
Oh boy.
He's got to take that team even further now as we make our way over to a military base.
Well, the chances were high that we were going to get at least one. Interesting part about this one is nobody really starting off on Millie, with the exception, I guess you could say, TAC 8. Now that they're kind of making a rotation over there, so okay, all right. I'm trying to think of well, I'm kind of stuck in this weird place where I don't think I've seen these two lobbies play a military circle, so I'm trying to think of how best to play this. So it's 100% going Millie, right? Like the odds of this going back to 90. Okay, 90. I agree. Especially since we've seen these things.
We've seen them, yeah.
Oh man, that would be just absolutely brutal if this did decide to cut back to the north. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully things will play out the way they should, but nothing's ever certain, and we'll see what happens. Tactical 8 is now arriving into the military base. They did not have a fantastic game last game, and they are one of those teams that's right in that kind of cutoff cusp position that we're really keeping a close eye on today. Them as well as Fabled and Virtue. Obviously, we saw Virtue go down to Veritas in the very first fight of game number 1, so that was not the best start to anything. Meanwhile, Gravity is sitting in 18th place, or not. I'm sorry, Tactical 8 sitting in 14th place, rather, are going to get that military start. So we're looking at Gravity right now. They're chasing, but they're going to be chasing this circle as well as they're coming all the way from Severny.
Yeah, it's this sort of 10% chance of it going up north that might give it's a hard argument to make. Okay, so if this was 100% Melt to Power, even if there were an itty bitty lip of the mainland in, you don't really expect to see too many teams unless they literally have zero option of crossing, say for a bridge camp, sort of hang on the coast until the second shift goes further down. But when there's this 10% chance, you could argue that might give Gravity a little bit more incentive to wait further before trying to make their way over towards Salazanafka Island, towards Millie Base proper. But then because it's only a 10% chance, you could argue that's kind of almost makes it worse for them. It's the fact that we have
very
been playing
catch-22.
this game, we have been playing Erangel for so many different years, and there is no right answer towards when do you cross over towards Millie when it is a military island circle. That imagine being the player in this situation, in this instance, and I do not blame Oath at all for making their way over as quickly as they did. Their kit is, let's say, about 70% there. Looking at Pat Caps, they're landing in Novo, and so they can try and get the rest of those 30% to catch up, make it all 100. But being in there first is so important, which is why I think them, Tactical 8, and even Prozone Snake missed out on making their way into the game area last game. They have a good opportunity this time around. But these bridges are finally starting to get stacked. A number of teams are all rotating in. Everyone is trying to go faster and faster and faster on these games.
It looks like Veritas was in kind of a casual, lazy camping position. I don't think they really were too invested in trying to pull anything off here. Zenith, meanwhile, tries to take the slow push. They do it very deliberately, and they're going to do their little bridge wraparound that we always see them do. Duel has also taken the boat over from Sharkfin. They've managed to make their way onto the mainland. PDS, meanwhile, sent Skazka over early to take a position at the crossroads on the western side of the island. The rest of the squad is coming, but they are closely followed by Sonic, so we'll have to see what Sonics decides to do here. Is Mime just going to keep seat swapping? Because, well, that's Mime. And Tiggleton, well, he knows his way around a seat swap here as he takes a few shots. Not going to find it, though. And now Sonic's kind of in a weird spot here. Okay, they're just gonna pull up here. Tig should be able to pull back and rejoin the rest of the squad.
It was definitely calculated.
PDS counting their blessings there.
Yeah, but yeah, PDS. I think they wouldn't have been super frustrated if they lost one person on that. More than that, then maybe we can talk. But all four of them making it to those buildings. Sonic's not able to push them too much more. They're able to sort of stabilize. But over here, the fight has happened. Hasn't even been over towards military just yet. This is on the north side. We saw Virtue pull up when Zenith were crossing over. And now Liberate are arriving. Sorry, Veritas, not Virtue. Those acronyms, those
I know.
Those numbers, everything.
Trust me, when they were fighting in game one, I'm pretty sure I thought that a couple of them killed each other. But no, Veritas, it looks like they were not set up properly for the Zenith camp, but they were set up for the Liberate camp, and they are going to be trading shots back and forth. Eventually, Ascendance, who is coming down from the north, might get involved in this, but it looks like they might be steering away. So this fight has time to play out by itself with just these two squads. Looks like it's just going to be trading shots back and forth. Yeah. I mean, looks like actually Veritas just going to bail on this. I mean, they have the ability to, and you know, they'll make it across. Looks like, well, yeah, Zenith. You know, they did their wrap around underneath the bridge, and then I think they realized that this intersection was free, so they end up taking it here. And here come the shots coming out. They're going to find a few. Not going to get any downs just yet. Kickstart in that perfect position on the edge. Is going to get oh my God, he gets him so close. He's going to be kicking himself after that one, wishing he would have maybe landed just one or two more shots. He could have gotten two nice kills. But once again, Veritas counting their blessing. Is that car on fire? Okay. No, it's not.
No, it's not. But Liberate still had that angle. Yeah, sure. Veritas are able to knocked by Kickstarter. The rest is Zenith pulling away towards Novo, but that angle still doesn't allow them to catch their breath, and they have to make their way into Novo, hoping that it's free. Luckily, Oath did pull away, and in fact, I think they're in the process of doing it right now, grabbing the vehicles. Veritas, I don't think they know much of what's happening around them, and so their job right now is to figure out what in the world is going on, what's the story of this immediate area. I will say, though, at least they're able to make their way across, because there are a number of teams that still don't have that luxury. Clueless, coming in from the south, taking a boat, I have to imagine, means that they don't have vehicles. But this is a free area down here for now. The timing, I think, is going to work out for them. If they can find one, hopefully two at least, on this road, they can then play this out relatively normally.
Should be feeling pretty good. Ascendance, meanwhile, they take the boat from the beach just to the south of Milta. They're going to take a lot of shots here from Liberate, but fortunately not going to find any downs or even get that thing smoking just yet. But Veritas, look at them. They're ready. They're waiting with jaws wide open, with arms wide open like Scott Stapp in 2000 as they pull up on the beach. And here the trap is sprung immediately. 3 knocks, Beck the last one. That is about as clean of a team wipe as you will ever see, Cameron.
Yeah, nothing that Ascendance really could have done there. Veritas in a position, a fortunate pull-up, but it was a gift package for them. Take that, and good timing on that as well, because the circle did shift towards the west, away from Novo. Still a little bit of main Erangel in play, but at this point it is going to be 100% on Military Island. Sonic's dead center. Hardships close to it. Fabled relatively close to it, but then Clueless here down in the south. This actually alleviates a lot of pressure for them because they don't have to worry about teams rushing around them, except for Oath in their direction.
That's what I was about to say. We'll see where Oath has in mind of putting up shop. Tactical 8, meanwhile, we remember they moved over very early. They're still hanging out in the military base. Got a couple up in C block while Zenith moves into the hills, just overlooking. Sonic's taking up a lot of real estate across those hills, gaining a lot of information, trying to figure out where everybody is. Meanwhile, we still have 4 teams still left on the main island that will eventually have to make their way over. And it looks like Virtue and Rumblers and Gravity actually might be starting to trade shots back and forth between each other. We'll have to see how that plays out.
That's a bad fight for all 3 involved. But over here, Zenith, they're still trying to find their footing. Shot by Sonics, shot by Tactical 8. This is a nice hill if they can maintain control of it. We've seen teams win off of this position in the late game, but that's a critical thing to note. Here on the north side, this is the fight that you were referencing. Rumbler is forced to bail off the edge of the cliff and start to make that swim, but that's a vulnerable swim. That's a vulnerable transition there.
It ain't
so
great.
It's a catch-22 for them. If they wait, they're not going to make their way over onto the coast in time, but if they go now, Gravity and Virtue are just going to shoot them while they're swimming, and that's assuming that Liberate on the opposite side aren't going to catch them.
That's the thing, is you mentioned Liberate now pushing into those compounds just on the beach edge. You can see Bahawaka already on the hunt, scouting out. Fortunately for Rumblers, he does not have a line on them just yet, but I got to imagine it's not going to be long before somebody spots something. As Gaxi and Los swim across, they did leave McCoy and Waldo on the mainland to provide them a little bit of support here. So this is kind of the old. I'm trying to. I think it was old Cloud9 that used to do this, where they would leave Profi on the mainland, and the rest of them would swim, and then they would cover him once they made their way over. So, tried and true tactics that have been around for a while as Rumblers employ.
Liberate does spot that this building is free. I think it was Bahawaka that might have made that call. You can see him on the hill watching over it. And I've stared at this window. 30 minutes. No one has peeked. It's free. It's good to go. Now One Eye Open, making their way across the bridge on a very, very late transition. Do not get caught in any meaningful sense by the hardships. That is, I think, even more fortunate than Prozone Snake facing up against Sonics.
How on earth did they get by that camp so cleanly?
I don't know.
That's just maybe unfortunate target acquisition. I don't know. Could be anything, really. Hardships having a little bit of a rough go of things here early. As One Eye Open does make their way open. They're going to get their hill. As you can see, it's just going to be on the far western edge as the circle does shift. It is going to favor the Sonics once again in those hills just to the north of military base. But Cameron, 60 players still alive in this circle. I mean, I'm actually surprised yet also impressed, because this isn't how NA plays Millie Base. What's going on here?
I guess they do this, John. I don't think it's gonna last for too much longer. I'm not just looking about Gaxi having a line of sight onto Halo Senpai, 2 regional rivals, both making their way over towards North America to make a name for themselves here in the new world.
The brave new world.
How do the rest of let's not talk about that. How the rest of Rumblers swim across? Luckily for them, Virtue and Gravity off the back of this circle shift have made their own rotation, so that gives them the freedom to do so, make their way inside the zone. And so I think Gaxi and Los on the opposite end really just want to play it a little close to the chest against Liberate, but over here Oath, they want to do the exact opposite, have to push in this compound held by Zenith. In fact, Zenith member is pulling down to try and give some support.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why Zenith decided to come and play this spot right here. As Relo will pick up over the top. Oh my goodness. he almost gets absolutely roasted by Kickstart as you'll pull down and pull back in. Roth, meanwhile, holding the snake position. You know it's got to be killing him. Roth doesn't like to stay in one place too often, as he's currently just holding. He's usually a run around, and I'm gonna keep running until I find somebody to kill kind of guy. But holding the angle for right now, as Snakers trying to figure out where they're gonna get pushed from. As Zenith looks like they've pulled up to the wall, but they're not wanting to overcommit into this. Not going to push blindly into this. Nice little throwable from Snakers. Not going to find anything. Take a few shots. Meanwhile, looks like that Rumblers and Liberate fight finally had to pop off on the coast. This is just kind of trading.
I'm paying attention to that one, so I can fill you in what happens later on. Right now, Oath are still, as you mentioned, is trying to take this round at the Zenith. Zenith don't need to play it too fast. They're both here on the edge. Relo finds a knock against Roth, who's trying to retreat from that location, trying to group back with his teammates. Perhaps those restless legs really got the better of him there. The grenade follow-up gets the confirmed kill. And even though Zenith had the opening damage, opening frag goes for Oath, and it's the opportunity for another. Poon's going to hit that prone, but Kickstart knocked is going to make things continuously uncomfortable for Zenith.
Oath is ready to pop off here. Are they going to get this res on Kickstart before Oath tries to push? Yeah, it looks like they should. But Oath already on the hunt once again. And Poon is going to go down now to Pack Caps, as Zenith just cannot peek right now. The pre-shot will come through. Not going to find it for reload. Not going to find the down, but he will find the damage. And Balefrost will clean it up. Snakers goes down to Lush from range, but that should be a pretty easy res. TA is just shooting things from miles away. Oath. Wow,
eventually, I imagine Zenith are looking at the kill feed screaming, "What took you so long?" Because that angle, I think, if that was held down even just for a couple of moments earlier, Zenith could have had an opportunity to turn this back into their favor. But elsewhere on the circle, this is actually north of that engagement. Veritas pushing in. 5 kills, so they picked up 1 more from that Nova wipe on Ascendant. But they're getting surrounded, and this is what I was talking about. It's not just them. This is actually on the west side. All these teams are trying to fight to make their way in onto that hillside that is in the center of the circle. 60 teams just a couple of moments ago, and it is thinning out because the circles just cannot hold that many players for this long. The fighting has got to happen eventually.
Yeah, PDS trading back and forth with hard shifts. Looks like Maluk going to pull off just briefly to go in and grab himself some level 3 armor. As we check back in with Veritas, as they've run into Wooly and the boys from Duel on the eastern side of this circle, as the rest of Oath is now pushing in from the south side. So a number of fights all going on the edges around here, as teams are trying to decide how much they want to commit into pushing these. And it looks like now's the time of the game where it's looking like it's time to push.
You have to. Rough rotations onto military understandably makes teams a little slow to take engagements because information doesn't come to them so readily, while they're just so focused on making their way across a bridge or across water. These uncomfortable fights, you got to find some way to open them up on. Veritas unable to find those headshots onto Oath like they were hoping for, and just going to deploy some smoke. Same with Prozone Snake, trying to keep the bleeding from, well, stop the bleeding. Stop it from happening. They don't want to keep it from happening.
You ever just have your friend is down and you throw a smoke right in his face? Come on, you got this. Oh, they're getting shot. So, okay. The problem for PDS here is that they're getting shot from multiple angles. Sociopath, you can just block that for him, you know. Well, he'll stick it. He got it. One eye open, just causing problems, taking shots in from the south. They're just kind of sending whatever they can send over into the smoke cloud. Looks like the res will come through. Hardships have pulled off of this meanwhile, and it looks like they're going to get involved with a fight with Gravity. PDS will try to get out of this for the time being, while One Eye Open just keeps running around pretty free and clear. Sonics will finish off what's left of Duel as they try to make their way in from the east side, and now Veritas finds themselves following similar path. They will pull away before going all the way up into Sonics' territory, and they'll find a little bit of a tree to hide behind. It's not
yeah.
great. It's not
Sonics find themselves center. I believe it was maybe space react to this phase, maybe even phase 3, and they've used this opportunity. They spread out so much. They're not letting anyone come close. The struggling part of this area is how open it is. So few compounds, so few playable areas. And if you're able to spread your team out with as much presence and control as you see Sonics have right now, it makes it incredibly difficult from any other team to really put up a proper fight with you. They've already deleted Gravity, or at least did a lot of work against them. Deleted Duel, helped take out Veritas a fair bit. It's just Michael left healing out in the blue, and Oath more or less know where he is.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to go back and get a res on a pack caps here at some point. One Eye open, meanwhile, still trying to slow play it. They're going to be taking some shots over the top at J-Sank. Not going to find any damage just yet. Winlow roughly playing an anchor position. He's a little bit far away from the rest of the gang. He's going to take a few shots, not find anything meaningful, and pull back. But this is all going on outside of the circle. So both of these teams need to start making their way off to the east here as quickly as they can. But I mean, once they start making their way east, they're just going to run right into Sonics. So it's out of the frying pan into the fire, so to speak.
Oh, bit of damage. Made it on the bike, but where are they going to send it to? This is looking strangely familiar to an earlier shift in game number 1, but no, he's actually going to send it into hard shifts, trying to circumvent them, get around them, and take the fight, but doesn't know what angles to peek. Here's Chuba, but not looking in the right direction.
I mean, I respect the play from Winlow. He tried to put himself into a position just to kind of hold hard shifts off as the rest of his boys were making their way in. Unfortunately, Shrimsy going to spot out Munhardy. He'll get the flush and the down. Well, okay, scratch that, reverse it, down and flush. Meanwhile, Virtue going to run into Oath as they make their way out of military base, and Oath makes short work of them. So Oath now, second game in a row, they get a little bit of circle luck here, or, well, as much as circle favor as you can get. I mean, if you loot up in Milta Power, Military Island is not the worst thing in the world for you.
It's better for them than a bunch of other teams.
Exactly. And they're capitalizing off of it so far. 7 kills. And all 4 still up, working from that south side. Tactical 8 having to leave the C block. They've sent 2 already, 2 still remaining as Oath is wrapping around to see what they can spot coming out of that military base location.
Yeah, Oath know that T-Gator here. Remember the knock that Lush got on one of their members. And so they're just going to be locking them out as best as they can. Liberate. They held off against Rumblers. They're holding off, for the most part, against hardships right now. And now J-Sync and Chuba forced to just push in on foot into the Sonics threat range.
Chuba.
Yep, Chuba gets taken out by Shrimsy. J-Sync, nowhere really for him to go. He's inside the circle. But doesn't matter where the shift is going, because Liberate is pushing onto him to clear out that squad, because they know that they're in trouble right now. They've picked up a couple of points so far. But now it's, again, Sonics territory, overlooking anyone and everyone.
10 kills now for the Sonics. They've been holding this high ground position for so long, and that spread formation that they've got, when you've got fraggers like the Sonics have, it is going to pay off in a big way. Lush still working on leaving these C block apartments. He's got William with him for emotional support. Oath, though, overlooking this and just waiting. Oath has all the time in the world to sit there and kind of wait for that to play out. Meanwhile, Liberate has to move in from the north. They're going to find Fabled and Sonics both ready and waiting for them.
Great. Pushing forward just a little bit. Pulled back away from where the hardships got taken out by Sonics. But they're still going to need to find some way to pierce into this area. They're coming across in between both Sonics and Fabled. Fabled stayed 4 up, sort of playing as like the little brother to Sonics in this round. The little sibling. Not able to take as much control, but they're still spread out fair enough, and they could do a good job of keeping Liberate out of things.
They absolutely could. Here is Sonics kind of pulling away for, well, I'm not sure how much they're pulling away. I think they might be dancing on top of the roofs of the compound anyway. Fabled got a lot of real estate that they can work with, and somehow Michael from Veritas has managed to stay alive. Oh,
yeah, that's a shock.
Just kind of left him after dealing with the rest of that squad. So obviously the priority for Oath was coming back over here and cleaning out whatever comes out of military base. Snakers on the move. A reposition here and going to be safe for the time being, but you can see Tickleton and H-Win already looking down over in this direction. But I think he should be safe from that line of sight for the time being.
Yeah, that's a rough call to make, but it's a necessary move for Snakers and the rest of Oath either way, because their position on that hilltop, yes, overlooking Tactical 8, was not in the next circle, and the only place that they can go is down in this valley. Tactical 8 are even pushing them, so it forces their hand furthermore if it wasn't pushed enough already. Relo, that was a silent pull down. Doesn't want to give information to Sonics.
It ain't great. H-Win going to find William as he tries to make his way across the street. Lush, meanwhile, still inside the apartments. I guess he does not have a line. Okay, he found a line on H-Win, so he's going to take a few shots over in that direction, try to force Sonics to pull back a little bit. But you got to imagine he's, well, especially now that the circle pulls away, he's going to be in trouble. But now this northern side is going to have to play itself out. Cameron, Fabled, and Liberate. And look at Shrimsy on the solo push.
Shrimsy wants to be involved. It's going to be Mime that actually takes down Baja. Sonics can split this 2-2 for free. Again, their area of control is so wide and so free. And also, they're just playing super confident. But now Fable, they're going to go on the push. They saw that the kill field, at least they should have. But Oath are going to take it aggressively onto them. They didn't want to stay inside down that valley. But it's 2 knocked against them because Michael sprung out from behind a tree. Unexpected Relo. Trying to defend against Fabled. It's 2 down. It's 1 remaining for Fabled.
This is unbelievable. Michael, the snake, perfectly timing that, gets 2 down. But Relo tries to clutch it out still, and Haxetti's going to find him. Snakers will come up over the top. Who's going to find who first? Can Haxetti win the 1v1? No, he can't. Relo will get saved here by Snakers, as Oath now with 12 kills and would have only had 4 up had it not been for the snake play from Michael. And look at this. Zealot is going to come across at the perfect time, almost get the down onto Snakers, finishes out Relo. And Oath, as good as things were looking now, everything is just kind of falling apart. Oh, wait.
What? Can't quite get the second, unfortunately, but Tactical 8 going to be going on the push here. I don't know if Liberate are going to be expecting this team coming out from C block. Zealot watching for Sonic. He's going to go on the push into blue. Spots one. Going to get the spray, the knock, and Liberate are fully eliminated. Tactical 8 versus Sonics, and Sonics, they're just laughing all the way to the bank. This has been, it's been a very, very straightforward game for them. And looking at their positioning, there's no way that they're going to lose this one.
I mean, they didn't get pushed once. Zealot will get spotted out by Tickleton. They've just been sitting out here on the top of this mountain doing target practice for the last 26 minutes. Steezy, the last one up. You got to give credit where credit is due, though. Tactical 8. That was a really rough position for them to be in, coming out of the military base with Oath overlooking, but they managed to stick it out, wait it out long enough, and Steezy will peek it one more time, and Tickleton says, "No, sir, you don't get to do that without having your head taken off." Sonics, 15 kills.